kinfolks stuff around this area, and they brought me to these springs probably before I can barely remember. The first spring I can remember going to was Falmouth Spring, and it enthralled me then. I must have been 6 or 7 years old, I guess, maybe younger, and they hooked me, and I've been hooked ever since. The beauty of these places.
Same thing. My first spring was Madison Blue, and went there as a little kid with the family. Right? It was like, holy cow!
And it was
trees to climb up in and jump out in, the cold water. I mean,
like,
everything.
this water's coming out from somewhere down there. Where's it coming out from? You know, there's a cave down there.
And you know, now that we're cave divers, it's an underground world that nobody else knows about. I mean, without this cave diving equipment, we wouldn't know what's down there like it is. It's so beautiful. It's just as pretty as anything up here, and it's just, I'm in love with it.
Yeah. I started diving when I was 13 in 1972. My parents were actually born and raised in Swanee County, so they knew about a lot of these springs up here. And they took me there, you know, as a teenager and preteen, and I was just enthralled by this beautiful clear water, and wanting to know, you know, what's down there. And so after getting scuba certified, then I knew it was like you needed training and all that sort of stuff. But I guess going in these caves is a really cool thrill, like nothing else you can do.
Yeah. You know, I started the same way. The old man, I was 13 years old, and the old man showed up with a scuba tank and a regulator. We already had snorkeling here, right? We went to the neighbor's pool and learned how to scuba dive. And real quick, we were up at Madison Blue, easing into the cave as far as we had daylight, right? At first, it was like, you know, just the thrill and excitement and the beauty. But later, as I got older, I went to college and I became a biologist. And lo and behold, here's this, basically, as far as biological exploration goes, this whole new world underneath our feet. And like, we've got 17 species of cave-adapted crayfish. They're white, they're blind, right? There's no place on Earth that has that many species that way. We have amphipods, we have isopods. We have out in West Florida a cave-adapted salamander. It's a gorgeous little thing with its old name was Hadiotriton wallacei. I mean, what a cool name, the Triton from hell. But they've since changed that to Euresis, unfortunately. But I still call it Hadiotriton. But I've had the good fortune to find like about a half dozen new species of cave animals here in the state. And I found cave-adapted fish, 2 different species in Mexico. But for a biologist, that's really, really fun. So when the Indians lived here, ruled this place, there were no wells in Florida, none. And now we've got thousands, tens of thousands, right? There's water supply wells for municipalities, trailer parks, for agriculture. There's a few wells for bottled water, but there's scads of them. And every one of those water going up any of those wells is water that's not coming out of these springs anymore. That's basically the way it is. So the springs have taken a hit. You know, the average flow of most of our springs now is only 75% of what it used to be. There's been a 25 to 30% decline in every last one of them. And that has some far-reaching effects. Not the least of which is our beautiful spring runs. These spring runs are among the most productive ecosystems on Earth. The clear water allows sunlight penetration, the clean water for the growth of plants. And it really, you know, we got nitrate pollution now, which is almost ubiquitous, which is causing an algae problem, right? And it grows on the native vegetation and smothers it. But one of the things you need in the native vegetation is strong spring flow. Because those strap-shaped leaves rubbing back and forth on each other keeps the algae from overloading on top of them. So it's increased nutrients and then declining spring flow. It's a double whammy on the spring vegetation. So often we we talk about the aquifer as a giant storage container, right, for our drinking water. And the caves are the pipes that move the water through the aquifer and out to the rivers. But it's more than just storage and pipes. It's habitat for all these really cool cave animals, right? The little white blind animals that live down there. It's their environment.
To protect these springs, you've got to protect the headwaters of them, the spring sheds where all this water is recharged at. And it'd be miles away sometimes.
There's a nice chunk of sandhill out there that is going to be farmed, but you can save it by purchasing it for conservation efforts, right? Where you got a longleaf pine forest. Doesn't matter how far away from the spring it is. It's in the spring shed. It should be bought up. When you look at things like the almost ubiquitous nitrate pollution of the aquifer and the decline of the flow of almost all the springs, that strongly suggests what we have is a landscape level problem, and it's going to require landscape level solutions. So it's not just bottled water, it's not just farmers, it's not just me with a faucet and a toilet that I flush. It's every one of us that's the problem, right? And it has to be taken care of at the landscape level. My wife inherited part of an ancestral family farm in Washington State in the Blue Mountains. It's idyllic. It's like picture postcard perfect. And we thought about moving out there, but they don't have any springs. I can't leave these springs,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah,
I-
I just can't
I
leave the
get that.
springs.
I wouldn't
It's
want
like,
to live anywhere but Florida.
yes, the best part of life in North Florida.